incoming heat wave for this weekend and next week, but today we have a continuous flash flooding for the west and for Florida. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. Today is September 10th, 2025. Okay, so starting with today and for severe weather, we don't really have that much going on, but we still have a lot of flash flooding for Northern California, Nevada, and Oregon, and also Florida again. So starting with the west, places like northwestern Nevada may be seeing some showers this morning and afternoon, and we're going to see more intense precipitation for Northern California, Oregon, and also Nevada around 4 p.m. Pacific time. And some of these showers, especially in Oregon, may persist overnight as well. And for the west in general, in the Rockies, we're going to see isolated cells around 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And with that being said, we do have an isolated dry thunderstorm risk in Washington State specifically, where lightning may pose a risk. And in addition to that, places like Nevada and Utah are going to see an elevated fire risk, where we're going to see relative humidities around 10%, but also surface winds from 15 to 25 miles per hour. Now jumping to the southern plains, specifically Kansas and Oklahoma, you guys are going to see remnants of showers from last night, and these are going to continue on this afternoon and evening, but in terms of severity, I wouldn't see much. And for Florida, nothing's really changed this week, so you guys today are going to see a continuation of isolated scattered cells of heavy rain around this afternoon and evening, and less so during the night. And isolated places could see upwards to 3 inches of rainfall or greater. And this is caused by a stationary front that's really has been stationary, and this low pressure that's been recycling that tropical moisture throughout Florida. So looking at 500 millibars or midway to the troposphere, we still have that cyclone that's sitting in the west, specifically in Northern California, which is causing this huge trough. And we can see that we have a lot of shear, and specifically in Nevada and Utah. And this is significant because if we look at satellite imagery, we can see that we have clear skies, which is going to bring in more sun, more surface heating, and with more surface heating, that's going to increase the buoyancy because hot air rises. And because we have a lot of shear in this area, it's going to be mixing the boundary layer between the upper levels and the lower levels. So we're going to have a lot of rising and sinking air. And with that being said, we do have a plume of really dry air headed into this area. And with all that mixing, that's why we're going to see surface relative humidities pretty low and also high surface winds. And around that dry air, we still have a lot of mid-level moisture, which is why we're seeing in the west a lot of isolated cells and precipitation. And at the base of the trough, we still have cyclonic flow or counterclockwise flow, which resembles a low pressure. And that's why we're seeing a lot of convection in specifically Northern California, Oregon, and Nevada. So looking at the big picture, this cyclone is really significant because as it travels eastward throughout the continent, it's actually creating this really massive ridge in the central part of the US. And as we know with jet streams, they're basically the barrier between the warm air and the cool air. As this ridge forms in the central part of the US, it's going to be bringing in a lot of warm air from the south to the north. And as the cyclone from the west travels eastward, it's going to weaken, but also broaden this ridge to the point where this ridge is going to be far inland through Canada. So what we're most likely going to see is probably a low pressure in the northern Rockies, but also a really broad high pressure somewhere around the central US. And that's going to be bringing in a lot of warm air from the south all the way through Canada. And this is a snapshot by Monday next week. If we look at the Climate Prediction Center for next week, they are also confident that there's going to be an above average temperatures throughout the country. And that's why we have an